How are we counting down to Herc and Keys? I guess we can just do it in the chat.
Yeah, I'll just do it in the chat.
That works.
Okay. I'm gonna go with that's a yes.
Oh, good start.
Alright, go ahead, Alta.
Alright, I hit intro and go that time.
Alright, there we go. We're off. Alright, so you'll notice, or you noticed right before we started, there was a screen of some settings that you might not be used to seeing in Pokemon Crystal if you've played it before. We have a special version of the ROM that is built pretty much entirely for races and randomizers and bingos and things like that. So it allows us to skip most of the Team Rocket events, changes around the stuff that's available in the marts, on top of a couple various other things that we'll bring up as they're relevant. But right now they're going to be going downstairs, talking to their mom, doing all this normal stuff that you do to start off. And we're going to see the first thing that's going to be randomized, which is the 3 starter Pokemon that they can choose from.
And each one of them holds a different item, too. And not really that many item-based goals on this card, I can see. Maybe a TM or 2.
No, we don't have anything day-based either. So, one thing that's usually relevant at this point... Oh, there's a Mewtwo. Okay.
Okay.
He's not even going to look at anything. Herc! Oh my goodness. Alright, so... I don't even know what I was saying. I just saw the Mewtwo and got distracted.
This is already off to... Yeah, you're right. ROMs that you make for other people just are better.
Whenever I make ROMs for myself, they're always miserable, but whenever I make them for other people, they're... Was that an Everstone on it, too? Oh my god. Everstone is something that can be on the goal and is usually a huge pain, but it's not on this particular card. That kind of goes in line with what I was talking about earlier before I lost my train of thought, but
P2!
Setting the day is usually relevant for things like the bug catching contest. There's some day-specific items that runners will usually be looking for, but nothing really on this card that dictates a certain day, except for TM21 or TM27. So I think what both of them did was set their clock to Saturday at 11 PM, so they still have time to check the bug catching contest for Pokemon. The way the bug catching contest and encounter slots work, I'll kind of dive into that a little bit. So every ground-based encounter, like grass, caves, everything like that, has 7 encounter slots. All water has 3. And all that stuff will show up in the Pokedex where it is in the randomizer. Apart from, you know, things like fixed Pokemon and the bug catching contest is included in that. So it's usually beneficial to check the bug catching contest for a few pokes that, you know, might not show up for your opponent or just won't otherwise have info on the decks.
There was Mewtwo on Route 29. I'm speechless.
Oh my gosh.
At this ROM that you've made.
Yeah, TM27 and 21 are TMs that you can both get from the Goldenrod department store on Sunday. So they're going to be looking to check the bug catching contest on Saturday and then having their clock roll over during the race and then going back to get TM27 is usually what it ends up being.
If this Mewtwo learns Ice Beam, I'm going to scream.
I saw it had T-Bolt to start off with. Frustration even right now isn't that bad because their friendship is decently low.
Yeah, it gives
at this point of
the ground types at least, because if it was Thunderbolt only, that'd be kind of a problem for a Mewtwo.
So pretty much at this point of the randomizer, they're going to just be going through the normal progress of the game, not really focusing too much on goals. A lot of people kind of get this misconception of like, oh, this person has way more goals than, you know, the other person. Are they super far ahead? And that usually isn't the case. Even if someone's super ahead progress-wise in the game, it doesn't really amount to much until the very, very end, because one person could very well luck into something that's very, very crucial based on where things are laid out on the card. But right now, people are just going to be focusing on just getting through the game and kind of lucking into whatever they can along the way.
You know, Krabby appearing does make me want to highlight how trades work in the settings that we have here for the randomizer. The Pokemon that the in-game trades ask for, the Pokemon that they ask for is not randomized, but the one that you get back is randomized. And Krabby is required for a trade in Olvine City. That's probably not going to be relevant in this, but when you're searching for that last goal, it could very well be the play that ends it.
That's another one of those things that since it's a trade, it won't show up in your Pokedex either. So if there's a very important, like a Pokemon that's in a very important spot, but just not showing up in your decks, that would be a good kind of YOLO play for that, just to see if it shows up there.
I think that's Miltank or Tauros. That'd be a funny thing to be from a trade.
So you'll also see they have the no money on hand or mom goal right now because they emptied out their money at the first shopping trip. They're going to be losing that goal as soon as they get money again. That's usually a goal that is left to be marked at the very end, just because you can use your money at any other point. But because of the rules of how we do this, whenever you have a goal, you have to mark it immediately. So the instant that they have that goal, they still are obligated to mark it. And these two runners are not sharing information. They aren't in a call, you know, sharing where they find Pokemon or anything. So the only indication they have that their opponent has seen a Pokemon is if they acquire it and mark it on the card. So, like, say Keys finds a Nidoking, he has to mark it right away, and Herc will be able to see, hey, he got a Nidoking at roughly this point on the time, so he can kind of guess where Keys found it, but he won't know 100% where it is. You can also kind of play that to your advantage as well, where, like, if you see a Pokemon that's on the card in the wild, you can opt to not catch it until later, as to not give your opponent the information. Usually that isn't beneficial, but there are certain instances where opting to do that can help you out.
And as tradition, you just name your rival the person that you're racing against.
If you name your rival a one-character name, you're a tryhard in these instances. We'll see if Herc does it.
The rival had Nidoking, right?
Yes. They both took Mewtwo.
Yeah, so if they were to look in the Pokedex right now, it would show the location of where Nidoking is hiding, if it's in Johto. You
likely won't see where it's going to be for quite a while, though. Usually the strat is to not check your Pokedex for any of the pokes that you've seen until the very, very end, when you have kind of free reign over the world. Just so you can check everything that you've seen at once and not waste menuing time.
Yeah. The other thing that is important to mention is we use the Catch 'em All setting in the randomizers, so every Pokemon is guaranteed to show up somewhere. It could be somewhere useful, like on Route 29, or it could be on Route 1
in Kanto somewhere.
Kanto, or Silver Cave, or somewhere useless like that.
Yeah, so pretty much if you see it in Tin Tower, Mount Silver, or just not on the map at all, meaning it's in Kanto, you're kind of in trouble. Whirl Islands is another one that can be problematic, but it is within reach. It's not really something you want to resort to, but it's there for you should you need it, especially with 6 badges on the card. You do need to get Price's badge in order to use Whirlpool to access Whirl Islands. So that is a slightly more appealing option that they have, but we'll see if that ends up becoming relevant later.
Whirl Islands has a lovely name in the community of Meme Island, and the reason for that is 67 total encounter slots. So good luck finding what you're looking for there.
So they're fighting this optional trainer. Herc's fighting him now. Keys is about to start fighting him. This is the youngster that the Call a Youngster goal is intending you to fight. This is a completely optional trainer otherwise, but he gives you a phone number, which will actually come into play for Max Phone Book as well. Max Phone Book basically means that you need to have 10 trainer phone numbers registered in your Pokegear. You get a couple by default. There's a couple free ones, but there's a lot of trainers that you kind of just have to memorize and know which ones have phone numbers and kind of route for yourself which ones you want to grab.
And you get Elm and your
mom.
Free.
Yeah.
And then there's a few others that you can get for on the way, like Bill's number.
It more or less just amounts to being fight some optional trainers along your way goal. It's usually not too bad. Nice excuse to see some extra information as well.
Looking at their current moveset, Steelix would probably be the worst thing for them to run into.
Oh yeah, definitely. So the main thing to, like, there's a few things to consider when choosing a main for these. Obviously, like, really good Pokemon like Mewtwo are super appealing, but if they have a really awful moveset, they're still really not usable. I usually tend to prioritize moveset over the Pokemon. Obviously, that doesn't mean run a Sunkern, but you still want to take something remotely decent, but moves are going to end up helping you a lot more than a Pokemon with good stats and bad moves.
We've done enough of these where we've ran some things that we could all be frankly embarrassed to say that we've ran. But
Herc has run Chinchou before, I've run Quillfish before.
Quillfish is good, okay?
Not for the reasons I was using it. We've all had our dark places.
But there's a lot of Pokemon that you may not even expect are good in a situation like this. Keiza's go-to example is Granbull. That it's really bulky and has really high attack. So and physical attack is really good in Gen 2. So just if you got a physical move set on a Granbull, you're pretty much set for the entire bingo.
The nice thing is as well for these, since pretty much the end of the progress that you're forced to do is like around badge 4 or 5 in Johto, so you don't really need a main that like needs to worry about falling off or anything. So you can take a lot of worse Pokemon that wouldn't really be good for a full game randomizer to Red or even Lance, which really makes a lot of really kind of bad Pokemon pretty usable in these.
He's getting bad luck trying to catch this Bellsprout here.
Bellsprout is another one of the Pokemon that is usable for one of the fixed trades, so he's probably trying to catch it for that. I don't see any other reason why he'd want it.
Minimum catch rate's not doing him any favors here. That's a setting that we have where it makes the all the Pokemon's catch rate the same as a Magikarp. So it's about a 1 in 3 chance if they're at full health, but sometimes you just don't get that.
Because of how it works as well, pretty much every single ball type has the same effectiveness as well. Like, you're not going to see an improved catch rate from a Great Ball, for instance. So it's usually just more efficient to buy a bunch of Pokeballs instead of wasting money on anything stronger.
Herc's catching his own Bellsprout.
Yep. We'll see if they check that right away. So Keys isn't quite yet. They might opt to hang on to it for the gym just because it has Spore. That could be a decent crutch.
It's like he's doing a little bit of shopping here, because I think he's intending to do Route Tower because of the middle goal.
Yeah, he grabbed Escape Rope, so... So the middle goal, pretty much how that works is, you want... It says 4 non-TM status moves. We've since reworded that on a future draft of the card to 4 non-TM, non-damaging moves, which is kind of a more clear version of it. But more or less how that ends up boiling down is you find a Pokemon with 3 non-damaging moves, and since the HM for Flash is not a TM, you end up teaching that for the 4th one. The way the randomizer works, it will always give every Pokemon a damaging like attack move. So you can never find a Pokemon that just immediately fits the criteria. But Flash is the go-to way to do it.
Was Bellsprout 4 non-TM? Or had 3 non-TM?
I truthfully don't remember anything on its moveset but Spore, so...
Yeah, at least looking at...
It's possible. That'll be a good reason why they hung on to it.
He starred the middle goal with my ass. So...
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. They both did, yeah.
The Bellsprout trade was for Moltres, so wasn't particularly useful.
That is the nice thing about the trades, is you, even randomized, you can see what they're going to give you before you accept the trade, so you don't have to just give whatever your thing is away if it's something bad. Oh look, an Everstone when they don't need one.
Where's Goldberry?
I feel like Everstone and Goldberry have been showing up a lot in ROMs when they aren't needed.
Oh,
lately.
The one I did yesterday, I spent 30 minutes at the bug catching contest trying to get a Goldberry.
Hopefully they get a replacement for Frustration soon, too. That's gonna start falling off real quick.
So they both have a really good main, and even a Mewtwo with a mediocre moveset is still gonna be a Mewtwo, so it's gonna be able to struggle through some stuff. Ooh, they learned Rollout later, that'll solve some problems.
Yeah, that still doesn't solve their Steelix problem, but if they can get into, like, through to Surf until then, like, they're fine. That's asking for a lot, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, due to the the sense of actually progressing through the game, HMs aren't randomized, and the moves themselves are kept the exact same. So being able to just kind of make it until Surf is a really decent strategy most of the time, even though the beginning of the game can be the hardest as far as fights are concerned. But if your Pokemon's just kind of starting to get bad, like right close to Surf, you can kind of just make it out usually.
Yeah, usually with these randomizers, at least for newer runners, the hardest thing is choosing a main. But the Mewtwo makes that easy, so this one is just going to come down to routing and some luck, depending on what they run into. But in a ROM where the main choice isn't as obvious, that's where the decision can be a much bigger deal.
I've got stuck running some pretty bad stuff before.
What's the worst thing you've ever run?
Does it count if I quit the race? Because I'd say the Mantine that I did at that race with Medic. It had Bubble Beam, but it's a Mantine, and its only other attacking move was Dig. It was pretty bad. Other than that, probably the Quillfish, honestly.
The worst Pokemon I've used that I actually finished, I still think, was that Togetic. And it was a slow and painful process, but it had Spore. So it was usable.
Yeah, Spore is a really decent crutch that makes almost anything workable.
I think I tried to run Growlithe once because it had Flamethrower and T-Bolt, but it was still a Growlithe and just couldn't survive anything. What
other stuff have I know people have run like Ponyta and other... Ponyta's actually not awful though, as I found out that one time.
Yeah, it's just got paper-thin defenses.
Yeah.
So there's 2 phone numbers. Oh, Herc ran away from the girl and didn't get the number. Can't tell you how many times I've done that. There's 2 phone numbers on Route 32.
Did Herc bail on... Or did Herc just not do Sprout Tower? I was watching Keys too much.
No, he didn't do Sprout Tower, so
okay.
he just had to come back for it.
Sprout Tower is an interesting decision to make because the extra experience from Sprout Tower is often very beneficial, but at the same time, it often ends up being more like safe to just do it later when your Pokemon is a lot stronger. You can just kind of steamroll your way through it.
He forgot to get the girl's number.
That's something that happens a lot to most of us with Max Phone Book. We fight the trainer, like we remember which trainers to fight, and we fight the right trainers for maxing out the phone book, and we just forget to get their numbers.
There is some logic to doing Sprout Tower first if there's a goal related to it. Even though they're running a Mewtwo, because it's a legendary, the experience curve is a lot more ridiculous. So they'll be lower level than other Pokemon that are not.
The randomizer does even the experience curves out a little bit. But I think what it amounts to is like there's basically 2 different experience curves instead of like 6.
Yeah. Legendary.
But it still is noticeable. You wind up a couple levels lower than you would with other Pokemon.
Herc is going fishing.
Sure is.
I usually only go fishing if I'm desperate for a main.
I usually do too. Although he might not be feeling too confident about the Mewtwo with the moveset they have. Like as good as it kind of is, I still wouldn't be feeling it too much. Yeah, too bad Defeat Electrode isn't on the card. They're also going to be on the lookout for not only a Dragon-type move for this card, but Explosion or Self-Destruct as well. TMs are okay for those goals, which is important to note.
Be funny if it was TM10.
Yeah, that's always something. For any item, you have to keep the item somewhere in your possession, be it in your box, in your bag, whatever, in order to keep the goal. So if TM10 is an important move, you can't teach it if you want to keep the TM10 goal. And something important to note with the moves as well. Level up movesets are randomized in this for each Pokemon, but the levels they learn moves are exactly the same. So if you find a Pokemon in the wild or on a trainer that has Explosion, for instance, you have to make sure it is kind of around the same level that you saw it, to ensure that it still has that move, because like wild Pokemon, for instance, always know the most recent 4 moves they would have learned. So if that 5th move is the move that you were looking for, it's not going to have it. And we don't have heart scales and move tutors in this generation to reteach things, so... It's always something to keep in mind.
One other thing to mention about just the randomizer in general is every Pokemon, no matter what their level, they're guaranteed to have 4 moves, and at least one of them will be an attacking move. I remember in some of the really old versions of Randomizer where there was a Pokemon Red one, and one of the starters was an Articuno, but it only had 1 move, and it wasn't an attacking move. So...
yeah, it's kind of just a failsafe in the randomizer to make sure you don't have something that you just can't use.
I remember the days of when Brock was impossible to beat. Keys is going fishing too. I'm actually surprised he's doing that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a Keys move to make.
Keys tends to subscribe to the blitzing theory, where you try and get through the game as quickly as possible up to the point where you get Fly, and then you clean up. And Herc tends to be a little more methodical about places. He'll go without repels in some points just to get information potentially on encountered slots. There's advantages to both. It really just depends on what shows up.
Another thing to note with this special ROM that we're using, Herc hit this trainer on purpose because he has a number, but every spinner, instead of their kind of erratic movements that they usually have in Generation 2, every spinner is what we call purged, where they move in that fixed interval, like clockwise or counterclockwise pattern that you see. So you can reliably pass spinners in the same way every single time as long as your movement is consistent. Just another thing to make randomizers and stuff of this a little bit more tolerable.
Another lovely term, rotatos.
Yes. So you're going to notice them checking a lot of TMs on the ground as well. TM34 on the card there is a TM that does not have a fixed location. So they're going to be kind of just hoping that one of the random TMs on the ground is TM34. Basically how the randomizer works as far as items on the ground, every item that is on the ground that would have been a TM in the original game will still be a TM, but it'll be a shuffled around number and a random move. And what we're looking for as far as the card is the number, not the move. The move is basically there on the card as reference. There's that Steelix I didn't want to see. So basically there's a pool of 16 TMs that can appear on the ground. 15 of them are shuffled from their normal locations, so you see the same ones.
Oh no,
kind of in one pool. And then the 16th one is randomized, so any TM could be that last one.
This Steelix is the worst thing they could have ran into. It has Fury Cutter.
Oh my gosh, this is
I
gonna be bad.
don't know what they're going to do about that.
Fish for more things and pray.
Wait, the Electrode had Fire Blast. I remember that being...
Yeah, it did.
So Herc has an answer to it. I don't know what Keys is going to do about it.
He's using conversion to get out of
the place.
That's actually an option that Keys doesn't have. Keys taught rollout over conversion and decided to keep Harden instead.
Oh,
we'll see what Keys does about this.
No, the Steelix is
that is rude. There you go. Burn it. Burn it.
Down it goes.
There you go. That's nice.
I don't know what Keys is gonna do. I don't think he has that.
And thankfully Mewtwo can deal with Politoed pretty easily at this point. Yeah, it's gonna be a doozy for Keys.
I can already hear the screaming.
He's none the wiser so far. Yeah, if he didn't fish up that Electrode, I don't know what he would have, like, just try to put it to sleep with Bellsprout and then just prayed. I don't even know.
So 7 different types of berries on this card. So Keys is depositing some of the berries in the PC. 1, to make some inventory space, and 2, just so he doesn't accidentally sell it. Oh boy, I don't know what Keys is gonna do here.
Yeah, we'll see.
Herc doesn't realize how big of a lead he has because... Oh!
Oh, I didn't realize... Okay, that works.
Where did he...
That was the Union Cave, or basement TM.
Oh, never mind. Keys is fine. I don't think Herc ever checked what that TM was.
I don't think he did. And they don't need a sum of TMs for any reason. I don't know why he didn't check that. Well, Keys is gonna be fine.
Yeah.
That actually makes Mewtwo's moveset even better. That's really solid. Oh, there. Now Herc's teaching it.
I bet Herc's upset that he sees this now.
Yeah.
After
I mean, he made it work. He had an out. It's better than getting walled there for 10 minutes and then realizing, whoops, I have Sacred Fire.
That was the perfect counter to the Mewtwo.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to see him struggle a little bit. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That's almost too much of a struggle, though.
That'd almost be one that you throw away a ROM on and then try
Yeah.
to throw one.
That's definitely something that can be an issue, though, especially when people are running different mains, is just one person not having trouble with a fight and one person getting stuck there for minutes on end. It just unfortunately happens now and again. He's just actually gaining on progress.
You're most likely to get walled at the beginning of the game. And it's sometimes embarrassing, some of the things that you can get walled by, just because of a superior moveset. That's one dead Ho-Oh.
Sure is. Now, something else that could have easily been a problem if they were running anything else, depending on what its moves were. That 14 is usually pretty scary at this point.
Yeah, Keys ran glitchless Crystal for a while, so he's definitely got the execution in his favor and all of that. Though Herc has a reputation for luck sacking into things.
He sure does. Card is looking a little starved as far as stuff they actually have, though, so far.
Yeah, we haven't really seen much of anything here.
They do have that guaranteed route to Suicune, Raikou, Entei if they decide to go for that, though. That's a goal where, basically, if you find just a random Suicune, Raikou, or Entei, you can catch that and it counts. But it also serves double as the normal legendary beasts that roam after you complete Burn Tower. So you can either find one of the roamers, which is Raikou or Entei, or the fixed Suicune that's in Crystal in Tin Tower after you've done a little bit of game progress. So that's usually, if you're kind of really starved on information at that point, you can opt to fight the 3 sages that are in there and then catch the Suicune in there. Or just luck into the roamer, which one of them very easily could.
Just not even saving. You got a Mewtwo. Just...
You got Thunderbolt, Sacred Fire, why you gotta care?
I'm trying to think of what walls this moveset right now. I mean, Quagsire gives a little bit of problems, but...
Yeah.
That's not too bad, unless it had, like...
Quagsire probably wouldn't be able to do too much back, either.
Yeah.
It's not the strongest thing in the world. Yeah, that's about it. Especially once they get Surf, they'll be pretty set.
It would have to be something fast with a strong move.
Yeah, something that just mega horns them out of nowhere or something.
Something like, I don't know, Tauros. But that would they would actually want that to show up.
Or just a Snorlax that doesn't die.
Never forget Extreme Speed Snorlax.
I had one ROM the other day where I was like blitzing through the entire game, and then as soon as I got to Chuck's gym, there was like 2 or 3 Snorlaxes with Mega Horn.
Oh.
And it was just bad. I had been spoiled the whole time, and then I just started having issues out of nowhere. Alright, so we'll see what Rival 2 has.
Was that Extreme Speed off of Bugsy that I saw?
I think so. So basically how your Rivals team works in the randomizer is they'll keep their starter throughout, and if it is able to evolve, it will at the times that it would, based on level. But the rest of their team is random, but it's attached to whichever starter you picked. So if they had picked different starters, they'd have different rival fights, but since they picked the same thing, they're gonna be looking at the same information. That can very easily come into play if the starter isn't quite as obvious as, you know, taking a Mewtwo.
Herc still maintaining a slight lead here, game progress-wise, but
He's catching up a little bit.
Being held up by that Steelix when he didn't realize he had Sacred Fire available allowed him to catch up a bit. Yeah, I think Herc Repel, either that or he's getting lucky.
Yeah, they found a Super Repel somewhere, I think. Yeah, that's what Herc used. Usually what I like to do here is go through this first section without repels, and then when I go to the menu to teach cut and cut through the cut bush, I use repels then. So that gives me a little bit of a chance to see some encounters in Ilex before just repelling through the rest of the area.
Herc opting not to get the max revive. Well, he didn't know it was one, but
I don't blame him, I usually skip that item too.
I go for it if there's items on the card that are hard to come by.
Herc, you're using cut the slow way, what are you doing? Actually, I don't even know how that times out with the instant text on the speed choice.
I think it's still faster to do it while you're in the menu. But not by much. I wonder if either of them are going to pick up Headbutt.
Looks like Herc's not. They don't really have a reason to.
Only reason that I could see is that Frustration's going to be falling off here. Though 20
I might just be able to hold out on until Strength at this point.
Yeah, they're both.
As far as the fourth move is concerned.
So Herc just picked up...
I need to move my mouse, my monitors keep shutting off.
Herc just picked up TM12, which is a good time to mention that certain TMs are not randomized. And Sweet Scent here is one of them. Basically, any move that you can use in the field isn't randomized. So Headbutt, Sweet Scent, Dig, and Rock Smash. And Sweet Scent's very important just because it lets you trigger an encounter immediately instead of walking back and forth.
It's often extremely crucial when you're on cleanup and just looking for that last Pokemon that you need.
Some areas have extremely low encounter rates, like Ruins of Alph, or Slowpoke Well, water areas and cities. Like, there's any number of places.
One issue that we encountered a lot when we were testing not sharing information for these before the tournament that we're running right now, and getting about done with, was that like one person would luck into Sweet Scent and just save a bunch of time because they could just look for Pokemon so much more efficiently. That was definitely something we needed to address for the tournament, and I'm glad we found a good fix for it. It kind of has other inherent value too, like we mentioned the Headbutt TM in Ilex Forest is always Headbutt because that is technically a field move. TM28 is one of the random TMs that I mentioned that can get shuffled around, which is the TM for Dig, which saves you on escape rope money, which is very beneficial as well. But that one you need to luck into. But you have that option of just buying escape ropes instead for you know, checking caves or whatever else escape ropes might end up being used for. It's usually worth buying a few because it lets you get out of Burn Tower a little quicker. There's a couple things you can check a little bit easier with escape ropes to get yourself back out.
He's emptying out his inventory a bit and getting some X items, I would imagine.
Let's see if Herc checks the department store at all. I don't think you will at this point.
It's not something Herc usually likes to do. I typically don't get X items unless I am running a poke that needs it.
Yeah, I usually don't take the first shop unless it's absolutely necessary. Or the first trip to the Goldenrod department store. So Herc picked up a Kenya there. We're gonna see what that is the next time he looks at his party, which will likely be after the bug catching contest. One thing you can do with the bug catching contest, there is a TM that's in National Park, and if you do it while you're doing the bug catching contest, you can quit out of the bug catching contest and just warp back, which saves a bit of movement.
Also,
Herc has been blessed! The bingo queen.
The other thing to note about the bug catching contest is these Pokemon don't show up on the decks, so Jinx, unless Jinx is actually in National Park outside the bug catching contest, it won't show up there.
They don't have any direct bug catching contest related goals this time, but it is usually just worth checking in here just in case something shows up that wouldn't appear otherwise. It can be a huge edge on information.
20 owned is also on the card. One thing to note there is when you catch a Pokemon in the bug catching contest, you even if you don't keep it, it still counts in your decks as you owning it.
Yeah, you get a bunch of free balls here, so it's a really easy way to just catch a bunch of Pokemon without having to, you know, send stuff to your PC and fumble around with menus and anything like that.
He's checking the game corner here.
That's interesting.
Diversion from what he normally does.
He's doing a lot of stuff he doesn't usually do.
I wonder if he's trying to throw off Herc.
Oh, I forgot 3 eggs was on this card. That's why he's doing this.
Never mind. This makes
So this is a really easy way to get a breeding pair for your 3rd egg. The first egg is always going to be the one that you get from Elm's assistant in Violet. The second egg is the odd egg that you can get from the daycare couple. But the 3rd egg is up to you to acquire, and usually the fastest thing to do is just get a male and female of whatever the cheapest Pokemon is in the game corner. The way breeding works in Gen 2 is a little funky. You have a 3 times higher chance of producing an egg when you're using Pokemon of the same species. So if you try to do Ditto breeding like, you know, most people do for stuff nowadays, you're kind of really cutting your chances to get an egg. But by doing it like this, Keys is not getting good luck on getting a partner here.
He got was a male, but I didn't see it.
So this is a nice thing you can do to check for capable breeding partners. Is just go to nickname them, and you can see whether the Pokemon is male or female in there, and just reset if it isn't what you need.
The strat that Keys is using doesn't...
Oh my gosh!
Doesn't work, though, if it's something that can't breed, like Magnemite.
Pinsir's a 50-50, isn't it?
I'm fairly certain.
I just checked, it is. There we go, looks like you got the 2. No relevant moves on those. So yeah, he's likely going to go dump those now. And then come back here during cleanup and see if the egg is there. Since he has no reason to worry about hatching the egg or anything, he can just...
Herc's picking up one of his last phone numbers here. I don't think he has Max phone book, though, because he forgot the number.
Yeah, no. I always end up getting it at different times because I always forget, you know, a various amount of numbers. And there's one TM number off. I got 33, not 34.
So Key's checking the status of the breeding there at the daycare. There is a chance that even if you have 2 compatible Pokemon, that they won't be able to breed, and the text for that is it's brimming with energy.
which you'd think would be a good thing, but it's not. It's a weird thing with how the DVs work, and like I don't remember exactly what it is, but if they have like the same defense IV or something, it's really weird. Because the way that gender is more or less determined for Pokemon in this game is by their DVs. So whatever ratio of male to female a Pokemon has, the female DVs will always be like the lower end. So if a Pokemon's 50-50 to be male-female, 0 to 7 will be, or 0 to 8, whatever. Yeah, it would be 0 to 7. My bad. Would be the females, and then 8 to 15 would be the males. And some weird thing with how that calculates, like, even if they are, like, male-female, it'll get confused, basically, based on their DVs. It's really funky. Gen 2 breeding is a mess. This looks like Keys is opting to not fart around too much in National Park. Herc pulled a little bit ahead on game progress due to the egg setup that Keys was doing, but given where 3 eggs is on the card, that's likely going to be a beneficial play for Keys to get that egg started as soon as possible. Because if Herc tries to do that later, he's going to just be fighting the odds at that point. I'm assuming at this point he's just trying to avoid it. There's always the chance that Nidoking is not in a favorable position. Although Kenya is a Nidorino, so they have a pretty free path to that, so I guess never mind. It's a pretty free diagonal right there. Still, neither of them have seen the moves they're looking for on the card either, which is kind of caused them a little bit of issues as far as how they're going to route this out. They really just have not found much. there's a Quagsire. It looks like Alt is going to be rejoining us as Internet's not agreeing with him. Yeah, this can be definitely a downside when you're... One, you find a main so quickly, and 2, you just kind of blitz through the game, is you miss a lot of potential information. You kind of... It's a push and pull that you kind of just have to decide for yourself as to whether blitzing or kind of taking your time is worth it. Sometimes blitzing pays off, sometimes taking your time pays off. It's just the nature of these. There is really no 100% right way to approach things. So Gym looked to be pretty easy for Herc, which means it'll be pretty easy for Keys as well. He's heading back to go take care of that right now. And we'll see what the Sudowoodo is right here. So the Sudowoodo event that takes place after you fight Whitney is still there in this Speed Choice ROM, but the Pokemon that the Sudowoodo turns into is random. There's a goal that can sometimes be on the card to status Sudowoodo, and that basically just means inflicting a status condition on it, or whatever random Sudowoodos you may find elsewhere. On the original card that was made for Vanilla Crystal, the original goal was burn Sudowoodo, because the idea was that you'd be forced to take Cyndaquil as your starter and you'd burn it with Flame Wheel. But we kind of reappropriated that for the purposes of a randomizer. We do have separate cards entirely for randomizer purposes, just because the vanilla card goals don't really work out as well. Okay, it looks like Herc is going to get the coin case and setting up the breeding now. So he's got a little bit less time to have that egg be generated, but it's kind of just fighting the odds. He should have decent chances to get an egg by the time he'd come back to check it. Looks like he's just going for the evolution on Kenya right now as well. It's completely free, so might as well. It's always nice when like the free gift Pokemon in the game just wind up being things that are useful. And that is one thing that's pretty nice about the Nidoking, Nidoqueen goals. You have potentially 6 paths to it that are feasible. Obviously, just finding Nidoking or Nidoqueen are optimal, but if you find Nidorino or Nidorina, it's just a Moonstone to get you there, and even if you find one of the Nidorans, it's only getting it to level 16. And especially on a card like this, where you're forced to do a 6th gym for a badge, it can be pretty feasible to just go get the experience share, which is also on the card, and just level up a Pokemon that might be necessary. Most cards basically encourage you to get enough experience where leveling up like 1 or 2 Pokemon for goals is feasible, but outside that, or even getting a Pokemon to a super high level, just is barely outside of the range of feasibility. Keys went ahead and picked up the radio card here too. There's a chance that Herc might end up coming back for that. They do have a good reason to come back to Golden or TM21 or 27, as I was mentioning before, but Keys just opting to knock all that stuff out here.
Am I back?
Oh, it's from the contest. Okay. My bad. It's hard to keep track of two game feeds sometimes. Also, welcome back.
Okay. That was a mess.
Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Last I saw, Herc found something with self-destruct and it was Blissey.
Okay, I missed that. That's what when I was looking at Keys's. I was mistaken. The Nidorino was from the contest and not Kenya. I just saw that it was level 10, and I assumed.
Yeah,
it's easy to miss something when you're looking at someone else's game feed. And
well, it's sometimes easy to miss something when you're the one racing.
Yeah, that's very true as well.
The Kenya was a pseudo widow, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, Keys cleaned up a lot of stuff that Herc's gonna have to do a little bit of catching up on.
Yeah, I'd definitely say Keys is in the lead right now. He's got a few goals in hand, and he's done Sprout Tower.
This is usually where Keys kind of shows his experience with these in the game in general. It's just the sheer efficiency at the way he does everything. Not only getting through the game as efficiently as possible, but just working progress into all these goals that could be useful in with his normal gameplay, and just really not wasting any time doing so. But as this is Pokemon and it is a randomizer, that isn't always what you need victorious a lot of the time.
Herc's
I think they're
checking a couple slots here, I think.
Yep. We'll see what the Sudowoodo is.
Oh.
Nah, it's not particularly interesting unless it has relevant moves, which it easily could.
I've ran one of those before.
It's actually a pretty good Pokemon, honestly. Base 105 attack is nothing to sneeze at.
Well, the one I had Earthquake Drill Peck. It was a pretty easy choice.
Yeah, that'll do it. Just about the best physical moves you can look for. So Herc's about to see the muck here himself. So they're about at the same point of the game, but Herc has accomplished a little bit less at this point. He's still short, I believe, a number or two. Still hasn't taught Flash to the Bellsprout. Didn't find the Nidorina, so he doesn't have that. Didn't get the radio card yet. But like I said, it's a very easy thing to just go back for when they go back for the TM as well, so... Radio card isn't a huge deal. That's quite the moveset.
I didn't see it.
Thunder, Thunderbolt, Flame Wheel.
Oh.
Muck Special isn't that great, but... Catching the level 20 is a decent play in a lot of instances too, just because, like, if you have a remotely iffy main at the time, you can either completely switch to it or just have it as a backup, and it's usually pretty nice to have around. So they're going to be getting a Surf here really, really soon, and their moveset is just going to be rock solid at this point. Just got to fight these 5 Kimono Girls first. They are just right on each other's heels as far as fights right now.
I would say right now, just looking at the card, if either of them can find Miltank or Tauros, without the other one finding it, it would be a huge advantage, because that's 2 bingos it opens up.
Yeah, so we've got row 3, they've got a good path for. Top left, bottom right is looking pretty solid. And then, yeah, Miltank, Tauros would give them 2 more.
They really don't have much else to work with here. This may come down to just checking slots.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll keep things interesting when they more or less had the same path through the main game. We'll see if either of them forget Slowpoke Tail too.
I'm fully expecting Herc to do that. Well, actually, Keys has done it too, so, you know.
I think we've all been guilty of it. So basically, the Slowpoke Tail is an item that you can find randomly on the ground just like any other item, but the guaranteed way of acquiring it is to buy it from the shady vendor in the mart in Mahogany Town before you do the event with the shiny at the Lake of Rage. If you talk to Lance and complete the event before acquiring it, you lock yourself out of the guaranteed path to it. And that's happened to almost all of us that do these at one point or another.
You get up there, save before the shiny, catch it, and then realize that Slowpoke Tail's on the card.
Yeah, the nice thing is you can catch yourself before you talk to... Like, if you've dealt with the shiny and haven't talked to Lance yet, you can still fly back to Mahogany and still get it. So you do have that chance to kind of have a wake-up call, more or less. Key's gonna be teaching Surf right away. Their moveset's looking real good right now. Nothing with Keys can learn Sweet Scent. That's a little bit of a bummer. They're going to be getting another free Pokemon in a little bit, though, so there's a good chance that that'll be able to learn it.
I forgot about that hidden item in Burn Tower.
I did, too. He was actually talking about it that time we were talking about all the hidden items.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about it.
I swear I learned something new every time I watch somebody.
That's the nice thing about these, is everyone plays them so differently, and 2, like, there's always some small bit of information that one person knows and someone else doesn't. Like, even with all his experience with this game, there's still things that he's forgotten about at times.
There's really not that many goals left that will give an indication on where they are in the game, aside from Slowpoke Tail and 10. The rest of the goals will be done during cleanup. At least based on what I saw, Herc has a path to column 5 if he finds a Blissey.
Yeah. I'm wondering if he noticed, though, or, like, remembered, because he didn't mark it.
Yeah. Rival had a Blissey and did not show Key's self-destruct. That could end up being a key difference of knowledge there.
At the same time, it's going to really hurt Herc if Nidoking isn't somewhere useful, because I don't believe he's seen any other part of the lines.
And Dragonair. Get info for the Dragonair trade.
Yeah, there you go. They have info on almost all the trades now. They just are missing Abra at this point.
I think the Blissey that had... Ooh, a Dragon-type move also.
Wow, Blissey's gonna be a gold mine! I don't think that showed for Keys either.
No. So, I don't... Yeah, when Blissey used Self-Destruct, it was level 13, I believe. So...
I remember what Blissey's moveset looks like. I'm gonna double check, since I was talking about this earlier.
Yeah. Might be able to knock out 2 goals there, and that's... Oh, I didn't hear what the level 40 was. Keys is looking for.
Yeah, I don't have their audio on. Yeah, so Blissey gets new moves at 20, and I believe that Blissey was 22? It gets a new move at 20 and 23. Actually, no, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Girafarig was the Raikou.
Oh, man. So that would satisfy 2 goals in the same column for them.
Oh, that's...
I don't think they've seen a Raikou either. So basically the way the roamers work is even though they're different Pokemon, if you have Raikou information, it'll still register as like showing you where the roamer for whatever that Pokemon is.
Yeah.
It's really funky, but
I think we've all
so if they see your Raikou, they can track the roamer that is in Raikou's slot, basically. Okay, yeah, in Gen 2, Blissey gets a new move at 10, 13, 18, 23. So there's a chance Dragon Breath was its 18 move.
He's just going all in trying to find this Girafarig. If he gets it, he's going to have a huge advantage. Though this could also be a huge time sink for him.
Yeah, unfortunately for... Now, I guess with the Girafarig, the Blissey is a little bit more appealing as well. Because if that Blissey really can satisfy both of the move goals... The two move goals aren't in the greatest locations, because there isn't too much overlap with them. They don't overlap with the diagonals in any way. But they have enough info to finish off row 1 and column 5 now.
Have to bingo for column 5, Herc at least.
Oh yeah, he's going all in on this. Holy crap. I mean, that is a really powerful, like, the fact that they're in the same column is just insane. They're still missing that Ivysaur, Charmeleon, Wartortle information, though. Which is important to keep in mind.
Information in the gym.
Yep.
Herc's green there.
That's actually gonna... Keys isn't gonna be too happy once he sees that, if he's going that hard for this.
I think he's mostly doing it for the Girafarig, but...
Yeah.
Still,
That still doesn't help him too much, though. Like, that... It's in a spot where it doesn't seem that appealing to just be going... Especially since he doesn't have the move information that Herc does. Like, I'm actually really curious why Keys is doing this.
I don't know how long he's gonna go for this before he just gives up.
Yeah. Because if he wastes all this time on this, and even just doesn't find it, and then sees the Entei in the gym, he's gonna be kicking himself.
Well, it'd be even worse if, like, Girafarig or any of the other two on the goal just show up.
And the reason he's going for this in the way he is as well is because as soon as the roamers are released, you can more or less... Well, not even guarantee being the right word, but you have a really good chance of just, like, running into one of them on the adjacent routes.
It's a 1 in 3 chance, basically.
And with Repels up, you can't run into any Pokemon that are a lower level or a higher level than... I said that right the first time. Lower level than your lead spot. So you basically can't get any encounters except for the roaming 40.
So Herc's gonna get back in the lead progress-wise because of this.
Hey, this is very out of character for Keys.
I don't know, I've seen him do this before.
Really?
Like,
okay.
He
Can't say I have.
Is very stubborn about it.
If anything, you'd think he'd be the one person to not go for this after running Crystal. Excuse me.
Oh.
Sorry about that, my water went down the wrong chute there.
Not the starter that you want to see. Want to see one of the Gen 1 starters.
Okay, he's giving up. I'm definitely giving him crap for that later. I wish I could just hear him scream as soon as the Entei shows up. Oh, Herc's getting the faded bike shop call.
Herc should have 6 berries now.
Yep, he'll just need that 7.
The 7th one he'll get is the Burnt Berry, which is east of Mahogany Town.
Keys will likely catch up pretty quick here. Herc's been kind of taking weird movement to check more encounter slots. I'm assuming Keys is just gonna full-on blitz through.
There's
Herc's 4 stab moves.
They're still gonna be looking for some stuff, just... This ROM hasn't been very kind information-wise.
That's a pretty decent tip-off to Keys that Herc either just got strength or just got fly. Usually, the path to 4 stab moves is either just getting a normal type or a normal flying type and teaching them a bunch of HMs. And then you also have Headbutt as the guaranteed TM as an option as well. The caveat with the stab moves is, for the goal, they have to be damaging moves, in the logic that they would be benefiting from same type attack bonus. But, you know, cut, strength, fly, all that satisfies that, so... At this point, Herc's probably just going to be catching everything he finds just to try to work towards that 20 Pokemon owned, and on the off chance they have the moves that he's looking for, that's one less thing he has to worry about.
Oh man, breed strats for Charmander, here we come.
God, I hope not.
Hatching eggs is just miserable in Gen 2.
It's awful. On top of the breeding already being bad. You don't have those nice handy abilities we have nowadays to cut egg steps in half. So you're biking up and down Goldenrod a lot.
Herc's just hoping he finds something.
And the state of the card right now, all it would take really is one thing found to give them a much better sense of direction.
I still give the advantage to Herc for information-wise, just because of the Blissey that has
not only a pile of experience, but a pile of goals as well.
For all we know, Blissey's in Silver Cave.
Yeah, we'll find out reasonably soon. I don't remember exactly when Herc usually checks his decks for stuff, but I usually do it like right after the shiny. That's definitely something else to still likely check.
He's got his 7th berry. I didn't see where he picked up one.
I thought I saw one of them maybe pick up a burnt berry somewhere on the ground, but it's really easy to see burn and it's a burn heal instead.
Yeah, the 7 berries goal is guaranteed just through the berry trees, but you could get it earlier just from randomly.
Yeah. You can get it early and not have to go quite as much out of your way, but it's not really something to worry about if your opponent gets it first.
First fight in Chuck's gym can be a little trolly depending on what they are, just because it's 2 fights back to back.
And they're decently high level compared to what you've been fighting up until this point as well. Now there's Nidoran information for Herc, so in case the Nidoking doesn't show up somewhere, there's a decent path for that. As I was saying earlier, their experience share is on the card as well, as is 6 badges, so they have a decent reason to go out of their way for leveling up a poke or two if need be. And Nidoran only needs to hit 16, so...
Pretty sure TM34 is going to be on the pedestal at this point. Okay, that's my only Link to the Past joke. I get one. Everyone gets one.
Alright. I don't know anything about Link to the Past, so you can have mine. You can save it for later.
Okay.
I'll get around to it one of these days, maybe. I should actually play the game first, though.
Yeah, that'd be useful.
Did Herc check what the Shucky was yet? I don't think I saw him check it.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
Alright, we'll see if Keys checks it on the... Usually what I like to do to check the Shucky is as soon as I get into the gym, like right before the first fight, I save, check the Shucky, use Strength for my menu. Because as long as you use Strength at one point on the screen as the boulders, as long as you don't leave that screen, Strength works the entire time you're in that area, so...
I need to get in a better habit of doing that.
That's something I only started doing like a week or two ago, but it's pretty nice.
Oh, it's Tauros!
That is super nice.
So Herc has it and doesn't realize it yet. So that 4 bingos. Actually, Herc has access to 5 now because of self-destruct.
Keys, what are you marking 4 stab moves for there, friend? I'm making a mod call and unmarking that.
What did it have?
He taught it Flash as the 4th move.
That's a normal move.
It's not stab, though.
It is, though. I thought it just has to be 4 moves.
No, it has to be damaging. We have this in the rules.
I
was like just saying this in commentary, too. A move can't benefit from same type attack bonus if it doesn't deal damage.
I get you there, but I don't think that.
I'm gonna check you on our rules document after this.
I'm pretty sure it's not there. I don't know.
I'll remark it for now.
Yeah. He was confused there. It has to be damaging, that's news to me.
Yeah, I'll double check our rules document. Okay, alright, fine. It doesn't make sense to let that count, though. Because otherwise the wording would be a Pokemon with 4 moves that are the same type as it, or something like that.
I'll deal with it later.
Toxic does not benefit from stab. It doesn't... The 1.5 times same type boost doesn't apply to status. It's only to direct damage. And it doesn't apply to things like counter or mirror code either.
Herc marking his Tauros there.
Yep, that's super, super nice for them. Although Herc still is in the position where the Nidoking goal might still not be in a good spot for him, but we'll see soon enough.
So Herc marking Slowpoke Tail should tip off to Keys where Herc is at this point. Wobbuffet.
Yeah, and this is the end of where the usual game progress goes. This is all stuff that 90% of the time in these bingos, this is the point where you go to, with Fly included. So at this point, they're going to be kind of diverging a little bit and just looking to clean this card up in whatever way they see fit. And I believe they're still not on the track for 5 bingos just yet, so they are going to need some more stuff to show up. Just a matter of what they check and how they check it at this point. This is the point of the game where the playstyle between runners definitely shows a lot more.
And just routing decisions in general.
Mm-hmm.
Prince Me. Shiny is disgustingly colored.
Hey, at least that's actually the same shiny color it has nowadays. Most of the Gen 2 shinies aren't the same color as they are now.
True.
Alakazam's respecting the lore. What a pal.
So one thing that the speed choice here changes is a mode called Rocketless. And after turning in the red scale, or showing the red scale to Lance, it completes all the Mahogany and Radio Tower sections of the game. And that just opens up the this part of the game a lot more. if they had to do the rocket sections, they'd probably be spending a better half of 45 minutes just doing that.
Yeah, there's a lot to mess around with.
Dang, neither of them forgot Slowpoke Tail.
Interestingly enough, you can still go down to the rocket hideout and check all 3 electrodes that are down there. But if you actually deal with all 3 of them, you get the Lance cutscene still, and he gives you a second copy of HM6, which functionally does nothing. It still only shows that you have 1 in your inventory. It's just kind of funny.
On Herc's side, he doesn't have the move goal starred. I wonder if he wasn't paying attention to that.
I don't know how he missed both of them. Going back for TM27 there. Likely gonna go get the radio card while he's still in Goldenrod as well. Actually surprised he didn't pick up a Moonstone while he was here. Must be counting on Nidoking showing up, because I don't think he's checked it yet.
We haven't had a dex check from either of them. Oh, he's picking up the radio card, because he didn't do it the first time.
Still needs to clean up that Max phone book too. He's probably only a number short at this point. What is he?
Not sure what he's looking for.
He must have checked something, because he's looking for something.
Unless this is where he found the Blissey?
Possibly.
I didn't think he was going for that just because he didn't have it marked on his card.
Yeah.
On the,
so we'll see what Keys does next here in a sec.
On the Bingo Sync website, if you right-click on a square, it puts a little star in the upper left-hand corner of the square, and your opponents can't see them, any star-marked goals, so it makes it good for taking notes that you have information in various places.
Yeah, you need 5 bingos for these to win. So they're still looking to clean up quite a bit here. This is the point of the game, though, where goals start getting marked off a lot more than, you know, the first 30 minutes to an hour. We're pretty thoroughly in cleanup phase at this point. Alright, so Keys is going straight back for the XP share. I don't think there's really anything he has that he wants to use that on just yet. There's really no goals that warrant it.
He's probably going to get TM27 and 3 eggs, and then I'm not quite sure what he's going to do after that. Herc's still looking for that Blissey, and there it is, actually.
Alright. And it's at 13, which is when it learns a move, so that could end up mattering.
Might have Dragon Breath. It might.
Oh, that's Flail! That's a move. He just doesn't want it to explode at this point. Okay. Is he actually gonna check the moveset, or...?
We know that one has self-destruct, but
yeah.
Dragon Breath.
Apparently there was something on 36 as well.
Squirtle.
Oh, there's Squirtle. Wonder if he remembered this was, or knew this was here, or...
I think that was just...
I must have just completely missed him check his decks.
Either that or photographic memory.
Alright, looks like Keys has his egg ready, so that'll be done for him. Keys is still definitely just short on information right now. He's kind of just cleaning up stuff that he knows is guaranteed. Likely just gonna go from there. Herc's having a bit of a struggle with this Squirtle.
Inventory space.
Did he not? He didn't deposit his berries. Herc!
That's a demerit.
Don't make a me mistake. You're better than... okay.
Keys does have...
Keys is a lot more of the guaranteed stuff. Herc is very close to finishing a lot of the goals that Keys has. Like, all Herc needs to do is teach an HM for the middle goal. He's like one phone number away from X phone book. He's one berry away, and it's guaranteed for the berries. So he's really not that far behind.
That Blissey had a match.
Herc actually has a massive information lead still at this point as well. So that's worth taking into account as well.
Keys is desperately looking for that TM.
Like, there's an argument to be made here that Herc is ahead, despite the goals not reflecting that exactly. There's a good chance this actually winds up pretty close.
Really just depends if Keys can find anything.
Mm-hmm.
TM34 would be helpful to some extent. Apparently Keys has Venonat and Parasite, or Paras information.
Yeah, that's slightly helpful. Still requires other things to show up, though.
Well,
you still want TM34 Onyx Scyther.
Actually, he just needs TM34 to show up.
They've made a sandwich of TM numbers. They have 33 and 35.
Alright, information.
So, has Herc still not looked at the Blissey? Well, Entei's in a bunch of places. Entei ran back to Burn Tower! Entei, what are you doing?
Entei's in an easy spot. Paris is in a not-so-great spot.
Dark Cave isn't awful. There's only 20 slots to check there, but getting around to all of them is a pain. Wobbuffet is not what we want to see.
Yeah, Wobbuffet.
And there goes the star from that.
Wobbuffet's not happening. Oh, there's Entei right there, good old hot dog. So this is where Herc's gotta make up for some goals that he doesn't have in hand. He didn't do Sprout Tower, so he needs to get HM5.
Yeah, I believe he still has that Bellsprout, though, or I'm assuming something else that will accomplish that goal as well, so
yeah,
he'll have it right there. And experience share is just a matter of going to get it. Max phone book is just a matter of... I mean, he even just forgot a number that was pretty close to where you get experience share, so he could just go back for that. Really easy. He also hasn't picked up Bill's phone number, I'm pretty sure, so that'll be pretty easy as well.
I think he's going to rocket that out. Yeah.
Yep.
He's going to check.
There is a TM down here as well as 6 Pokemon that don't appear in the decks to check, so... there are 3 different Pokemon in the Rocket Hideout traps, and then there's the 3 Electrodes that are all 6 encounter slots, essentially, that don't appear in the decks. So it's really easy to find, you know, random stuff in here.
He's really just one goal away from getting information for 5th Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
TM34 would be that.
Yeah, the 3 different slots for the Pokemon in these traps are always the same, so you can check the same panels every single time, and you'll always get the 3 unique ones. And then there's just duplicates spread throughout the rest of the tiles.
Saving for the next.
And the first Electrode is...
I think that was a Ditto.
Okay, I don't have his audio on, so I can't hear these cries. He's just resetting on the cry. This is one thing that definitely comes in handy with running these, just being able to identify different Pokemon cries, both with the roaming legendaries in Burn Tower, and just being able to save time on your resets on stuff like this. Like, just hearing the cry when you start the fight, and just knowing it's not something useful and just resetting immediately, instead of having to wait the couple extra seconds to actually see what it is.
Those were all busts.
The tricky thing with Gen 1 and 2 cries is to save space on the cartridges, a lot of the cries are essentially the same, but pitch shifted or like reversed or manipulated in some way. So being able to differentiate between those different cries is definitely pretty tricky. Still not 34. He's leaving his mouse over 34 too. He just wants it.
There's only 3 more places he can look.
Yeah, so he's got what? The Lighthouse, Ice Path, Dark Cave?
Yeah.
Is that what he has left?
And the other TMs that he would have easier access to require Waterfall, which is Mount Mortar and Route 27. And then there's one on Victory Road, which requires all 8 badges, and there's a single one in Kanto in the Rock Tunnel. But you're not going to rely on that.
Yeah, doing anything past Waterfall is super awful, because not only do you have to defeat Claire, you have to grab Waterfall, you gotta go through Dragon's Den to get her badge, which is something that will soon be changed. We're messing around with the ROM a little bit, but for now, it's still super, super not worth it.
So you'll notice that both of them haven't gone for 6 badges yet, and the reason for that is it's free experience for anything that you need to level up, since you have to do the goal anyway. And
Herc's likely going to use it for the Squirtle that he found. Herc just found a Giraffe Rig.
Out of nowhere.
That's... and Keys messed up getting the TM. And it's still not what we're looking for. We're running out of options here.
The Giraffe Rig doesn't really help Herc too much, right? Well, actually it does. He has...
He has the Wartortle information, technically, that Keys, I'm guessing, doesn't. Or at least hasn't looked for yet. He has the Entei information.
Yeah.
Like, that column is an option now.
Time to see.
I like how Keys taught Flash and just isn't using it. What a cool guy.
Time to see if this TM's TM34.
There is a goal that can appear on the card to make you go get black glasses in here. So knowing your way through Dark Cave can be pretty useful. He's already showing that he knows his way around here pretty dang well. I usually have to pull up a map still, because it's a pain.
I know how to get to the TM, but black glasses is something I still need to do.
Yep, Keys is going to be chipping away at that 20 Pokemon owned and hoping stuff has moves as well. Getting the free evolution here for just yet another Pokemon owned. The thing to note with how we rule the 20 Pokemon owned thing is it goes off of the Pokedex owned count. You don't have to just have 20 individual Pokemon, which is why, you know, stuff like the bug catching contest counts and things like that. So evolving, like, especially with Stone Evolutions, is a really free way to bolster your own count without having to catch a bunch of stuff.
Nidoking is in Union Cave, which isn't great.
There's a lot of slots to check in Union Cave, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how there are.
There's 30, I believe?
30, yeah.
You got ground slots, water slots for 3 floors.
He's lost? Yeah, I think he did. Well, Mewtwo learns Powder Snow, so it's budget Volt Beam.
Too bad they don't really need moves too much at this point.
And
Almost 34, just got the numbers flipped around.
So unless he wants to gamble on Lighthouse, TM34 is not looking like an option. Oh, there's Paris, though.
Yep. I remember there was something in here that you'd be looking for. So they've both got decently interesting information that the other doesn't. Definitely going to be interesting seeing how this wraps up.
Herc's about to get War Turtle soon.
Yep.
You know, this might be... This seems like one of those cards where I would gamble Meme Island if I didn't have the information.
It isn't completely unreasonable. Especially with 20 Pokemon owned, like, you can just catch so much stuff in there. There's a good chance that something in there has a move you're looking for. There's more Wobbuffet information on price.
More useless Wobbuffet.
Yep, and there's Wartortle. Well, the level needed for Wartortle.
So Herc basically has column 3 wrapped up. He knows where Entei is.
Yep, and no money will be something he'll do at the end. So he's actually, because what, he'll have column 3, row 3, row 4, column 5. That's...
I think Herc might be in go mode, actually.
Yeah, that's not that much to ask for either. He's got a path to too much stuff now. Because he's got top left, bottom right as well, if he wants to...
He really
what he
needs
ends
to
up going for
find
at this point.
Nidoking, though, and that's...
Yeah, it looks like
exactly
he's going for that right now.
Though he has Nidoran mail information, too, like...
Did he even check it?
There-
I don't think I
there
saw
it
him. Okay, well, that works.
That works.
30 slots, finds it on the first one, sure. Sure.
He's doing the Herc
And we did say earlier that Herc usually luck sacks. There we go.
That Blissey is paying dividends right now.
Oh, no kidding. Even without Dragon Breath on it. If he was aware of Blissey's level up movesets, like move levels as well, like he'd even have a decent option to level that up if he wanted to, if need be. Because I'm assuming it would be the level 18 move that Blissey would get it, based on when we've seen stuff.
That's bingo number 3 for Herc. He just needs 20 owned and no money, and he's done.
Yep. And apparently that Chikorita was the 20th, so looks like Herc's
Ooh.
probably gonna run away with this one.
Onyx for keys. This makes things
Oh, yeah.
interesting. This-
That is a thing. We'll see how quick Herc can empty out his money here. So basically how the no money goal ends up working at the end usually is you spend down as much as you can, and then every single time you lose a fight and white out, you lose half your money, and then like if you're down to 1, you just lose all of it. So you want to basically just make yourself have to lose as few fights as possible.
Oh, Herc still needs to get Entei.
I don't think he even needs Entei at this point.
One got row 3, 4.
Yeah, he doesn't need it.
Oh yeah, he doesn't need it. No. I thought he needed Entei, but I forgot about that.
One of the nice things you can usually do to manipulate your money is berries, but in an instance like this where they kind of need to hang on to all their berries, that isn't really an option, unfortunately.
I don't know why he's leaving Blissey as his last one. That thing's got a ton of HP.
You just need something with a good physical move to kill it, I guess. Okay. Right now, he'd look to sell something that's like worth 50.
Careful there, Herc.
I don't know. I would have just left the 58 where it was and just sold something that was worth 50.
I don't know what he's for here.
I'm trying to think of how many fights he has to lose now. Oh my god.
He's like...
Herc, you can figure this out. You're good at math, I think. Okay, there, that works, I guess. This would be a really nice situation where you just sell 3 more berries and just basically have to lose, like, I think, like 2 fights. But selling berries is not an option, really, at this point. He sold really what he could.
Oh, wait, yeah, Blissey had self-destruct. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's it, yeah. Good point.
I forgot about that.
Good point. There we go.
So, barring Herc's computer crashing, I think he's got this one wrapped up.
Yep, kind of just came down to Keys not having information. Herc definitely using his luck-sacking powers for evil once again. The giraffe didn't even end up mattering, which is funny.
I still don't know what Keys is looking for here.
I don't know.
The best thing here is that this trainer's lead is really slow, so he doesn't even have to wait for the move.
Mm-hmm. Like, this is about as fast as wiping out your money gets as far as losing a fight. You usually gotta wrestle with it a little bit. He's getting slowed down by that not very effective text, though. He's gotta lose 2 more.
2 more fights.
And our established done point for these is there's an extra item added to your inventory called the done button in this modified ROM. So once you have the 5 Cinco, or the 5 bingos, you just hit the done button, and that shows you a bunch of statistics based on the run, which is really cool to see. It shows you your in-game time, like the time you spend in menus, number of bonks even, like a bunch of cool stuff like that. But hitting that is going to be our done point. And there's the last goal marked off. Just needs to hit that done button.
And time.
Yep.
Thank you for waiting.
So yeah, that was Pokemon Crystal Randomizer Cinco Bingo.
Are they gonna come in to talk about this?
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna bully Keys for checking for the roamer.
Fully hurt for running out of inventory space.
Yeah, if we've got some time, we can chat with the runners really quick.
Hi there. No, let me turn down the
Rats
TV.
on dethroning Keys without the color red.
Rats on
Yeah, dude.
Dethroning Keys without the color red.
Thank you.
It's a rough life running a Mewtwo, it really is.
I honestly don't even know what the other starters were. I saw Mewtwo and just went, yep, I'm taking that.
Yeah, Keys did the exact same thing. You just... Yeah, Keys did. I forgot to make one for this. I goofed.
So this could have been a Unknown Robin we didn't even know.
What? Oh, hold on. Let me turn down this overly loud. Much better now. I can hear you. Also, oh, whoop.
So I think the only thing I was going to ask you is, did you remember that you had info on Dragon Move as well?
I do. It was
Okay.
Blissey at around 20.
Yeah, it learns another move
feel-
at 18. That was the other move I would have learned. So you had an option for it there, but you didn't really need it.
Honestly felt like, because I once I knew where self-destruct was, I knew my path.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So like at that point, it wasn't. Once I learned that it had dragon, I was like, well, if it has it when I catch it, then great. If not, I'm not going to take the time to level this thing up. However many
Yeah,
levels.
your path only wasted 2 goals, which is not bad. That's pretty efficient.
GG keys.
Let it be known that once I saw you marked a couple of different goals, I literally just sweet sent it in the same round until you were done.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
As soon as I saw you mark Explosion and Wabufet, I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit here until he's done.
Wow. So, like, Wabufet, I honestly didn't even need. I already knew what my path was. I just happened upon that when I was going to get the last phone number that I missed.
Yeah, so I don't know why it didn't show it to you at all. But Blissey had Self-Destruct, and then at level 18 it learned Dragon Breath.
Yeah.
It just didn't show you either from what I saw. And it was on, like, Rival.
By accident, I found it by accident, honestly. I was going to, like, catch it because I was just like, oh, I could use it. So I was going to weaken it with T-Bolt, and then it blew up, and I'm like, oh. I found another one immediately, and I couldn't get it in the damn ball, and then it just wouldn't show up again for, like, 20 encounters.
I want to go back in time towards the Slowpoke Well part of it when that Steelix showed up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So Herc did that fight not realizing TM40 with Sacred Fire, so we thought you guys were going to get walled like crazy because that thing had Fury Cutter and Curse and all sorts of other things to make your life miserable. And we were thinking Keys was going to be walled there forever since, you know, you had that Electro and Fire Blast. And then he loads up TM40, it's like, oh, it's Sacred Fire.
Yeah.
I will say, Herc, I liked the conversion play.
Oh yeah.
To not be weak to Fury Cutter anymore.
I tried, dude. It was like
it was pretty juicy.
Grasping at straws at that point because I didn't realize that afterwards, like after that second fight in the well, I was like, I wonder what that TM was. I looked at it, I'm like, of course it's Sacred Fire, the one move I could have used like 4 minutes ago.
Like, I tried to get the Giraffe Rig early, and I wasn't getting anything. I wasted like a good 5 minutes on that.
Did you?
Yeah, and Herc randomly found it.
I'm genuinely surprised I didn't run into anything at all. Like, I should have ran into one thing with the, like, 5 or 6 tries I did, even if it wasn't the Giraffe Rig. So
I knew the Nido King, Nido Queen was in the contest, and I was debating on whether or not I should do a clock reset just based on when Keys marked it.
Yeah, there was Nidorina in the contest.
And then I looked at it, I was like, yeah, you know, let's go for it in Union Cave. How bad can it be? And I'm like, we'll start in the water, and it's the first encounter. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
excellent.
That was pretty epic.
I was like, wow, this takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. Where did you find
the only TM that wasn't checked either for 34 was?
I had no info on anything. Like
me either.
I actually couldn't finish until I randomly found out Onyx, but by then you already had a win, so...
Yeah, you were looking for TM34 pretty crazily, and it just wasn't happening this time.
What wasn't checked? The lighthouse?
Yeah, lighthouse and, like, you know, treasure room, stuff like that. But lighthouse was the only thing.
Seriously? Keys checked every... Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's what he needed for Go mode was TM34.
Well, I mean, like, it was pretty obvious that I was going to get, like, pretty bad luck when that one Bellsprout took me, like, 9 balls. And almost killed me. Like,
that was stupid.
That was the beginning of the end, and that was only, like, 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured you found the Bellsprout and you did Sprout Tower first for that. And I was like, okay, so I've got a little bit of a lead, but most of it, but I honestly tried to like find another Bellsprout pretty quickly just so I could like trade the one away to whatever.
I'm less disappointed with the loss, and I'm more disappointed at the starters because I don't think this was a good showing having something that could blitz right off the bat without anybody looking.
Yeah, the Mewtwo was kind of too good.
Like that was.
I didn't look at the others. I just saw the Mewtwo
for it to learn Ice Beam or some nonsense.
Yeah. It had T-Bolt, and I was like, this is runnable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is stupid.
It did learn Powder Snow later.
Did it?
Eventually.
What level?
Like 30-something. You didn't teach it.
No,
yeah, it was in Price's gym.
It was the Squirtle.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. Didn't I think
It was
the
trying.
Hyperlink
It was
protect.
trying.
Yeah.
See, I didn't find a Squirtle either. Like I had no info. Like period.
Yeah.
That was a by accident thing. I wasn't even gonna factor that in. I just got it, and I didn't even need it. I found it on 36 when going back to get the Ice Berry.
Like if I had found the Onyx a little earlier, then I could have just done 6 badges, 20 pokes, and no money, and I would have been done. But by the time I found it, it was too late. And then like you were taking forever to get no money, so I was just sitting there like, would you hurry up? Like,
dude, I literally dropped
I was literally just sweet scenting the same route. I was just like, come on, finish.
I dropped everything, grabbed my Blissey, and was blowing up to a Macargo.
Yeah, that was pretty quick.
I was going as fast as I possibly could. Believe you me.
Not being able to sell the berries was a bit rough for cleaning that up.
I tried.
I still had like 4 or 5 pokes I needed to catch for 22. Like I was not in a good position because I just didn't have any info.
Did you do the sages for Suicune, Raikou, Entei, or did you find the Entei that we had info on?
I found an Entei.
Okay. I just didn't know what was going on with that. Where was Onyx Scyther?
Like, I'm really bummed that the Giraffe Rig didn't show up because I put forth an effort into finding it. Like, I even had like the radio card early and everything, which that was an accident. But like,
yeah, that was helpful for me.
I had everything set up, and I never got a single encounter. And I tried like 4 or 5 times because, like, if I got the Giraffe Rig, that would have gotten double goals, and that would have been like a really comfortable lead.
Mm-hmm. Video card that I still had like where you were, and I think I was like towards the contest or something, or I was like past the Sudowoodo at that point, or near Whitney or something. I got like a decent enough like knowing where he is.
Any closing thoughts, guys, before we wrap things up here?
That was stupid.
Mewtwo starter's dumb.
Yeah, it's really dumb.
Agreed.
I almost, honestly, there was a P2 on 29, and I was tempted to check it just so we weren't running the same thing, because I knew me and you were just going to run the Mewtwo.
I think I'm just a little disappointed that so far every marathon showing of this has been like not a good representation of what it actually is. So maybe next time.
Maybe next time, yeah. All right, well, that'll do it for us. Thanks a lot, guys. This was a good race.
Thank you.
And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of the marathon.
I think the next run is the last one, too. Yep.